Hey, good morning, everybody. I hope you're having a good week, a good start to school. So I'm going to review this project, which is just our simple space game. So we're going to use this as a way to just learn a little bit about how a game engine functions, specifically for 2D, and then pretty soon we'll be getting into some 3D style games. So this is your basic editor. This is called QuickTeam Fusion. When you first open a new project, and if you go up here, you can see that you hover over stuff, it'll tell you what each um, icon does. So this is how you make a new project. And then you'll see the application over here, and then you'll see the properties right here. So these are your frames. And this is just where all of the action during a game would take place. So what will happen is we're going to have 3 frames for this game. And you can see if I'm on this screen, which is right here, you can just add a frame like this. So if you add any more, and I do want you to see this just because it can happen occasionally. So if you add 4 frames or you do something that goes beyond the limits of like what you can do in the free version, you may get this message here. So I'm just going to click yes, and then I'm going to click OK. And all you have to do is just delete the thing that caused it. So in this case, it was frame 4, and then you can see that it just says program features restored. All right, so I'm going to build a simple version of this game so you can see the entire process from start to finish. So if you go to the first frame, again, this is going to be our title frame. And if you also wanted, if I go back here, I can title each one. So I'm just going to do this. Let's say title. I'm going to say level 1. And then for this frame, we're actually just going to make this the victory screen. So it's going to look something like this. Okay. So when you go to the first frame, you have your library, which is down here. And if you can't find it in class, you can ask. But if you're missing a toolbar, if you go to view and then toolbars, you can see all of your options here. So first thing is I'm going to go to games and I'm going to add my backdrop. So remember, you just click and drag like this. Okay, once you've done that, we're going to go ahead and I'm going to add this spaceship to this just because, again, it makes it a little bit more interactive. Then I can go back here and I can add some planets. So just for demonstration's sake, I'm just going to add like 3 planets, something like this. And I'll also want to add the title. So to add a title, you're going to go to this insert button right here. You're going to go to new object. And remember, in programming, it's called a string because it's a string of characters. And I can click anywhere here. And I'm just going to call this space game. And something else, though, is that we can't see what the font says because it's in this space background. So what I can do is if you click on it, you should see a properties window down here, and then I can change the color. I'm going to make it this blue color, and then I can also click here and I can change the font. So I'm going to I'll make it this font. But you can see I don't have like a lot of options for the size for some of the fonts, and I can slightly make the text box bigger. And you can also see the alignment here. If I want it to be in the center, I can do something like that. So those are my properties. Now, right now, I can't really get anything to work, right? Like it's not doing anything. If I hit play, which is this button right here, you'll see that it shows up and the planets spin and I can fly my ship around, but I can't really do anything else. So, like we covered in class, we also want to add a button to this screen in order to get to the next frame. So to do that, we go up here to insert, we go to new object, and then I'm going to add this button right here. And I can double click and just type what I want in here and hit start. Okay, so to get this to work though, because again, if I press play and I'm going to see this button, I can click it, but nothing's happening. So what I have to do is add a condition to this. So this is here under the event editor. It looks like this. So for the first condition, when you see a condition here, you go to this. you're going to see that it has an icon for like each of the things that's in my scene. So if I click on this button, it'll give me a list of options of things that I can do. So I'll see this one here. It says button clicked. And then all of these also have like a function. So you can see there's like a timer, there's a create, there's a few other things. So I'm going to right click under storyboard controls. You're going to see that it kind of flashes like this. And then I'm going to pick next frame. Okay. Now, once you have this, you want to test it. So you can see that I already have a level 1. What I'm going to do to make it easy to see if it's there is I'm going to just add this backdrop. And I'm going to go ahead and add my spaceship to this one as well. So go ahead and just add this here. And maybe I'll add like one planet. So I'll maybe put this like asteroid there. I'll put another planet. Let's see, I'll put Earth here, something like that. And maybe you can also resize like this. So if you want to make these like a little bit bigger, and there we go. All right. So if I, now the thing is to test the frames, if I just click this and I'm on my title frame, if I just run this frame, what's going to happen is it's just going to close. I'll click start and my application will close. So what you have to do is go to run application. And then this is how we're going to test it to see if it actually moves. So I hit start and there it is. Okay. So I know that this worked. Okay. The next step for this is on my second frame, I want to make this be like a goal. So I want this to be like an obstacle course. So I'm going to just add a couple more things here just so you can see how to set this up. Now, one thing that I'll want is a gem. So on this, when I go back to my library under games, you're going to see this gem right here. And I'm going to pick this one. Okay. So I have to make a couple of conditions because right now, what'll happen is if I just go here, I can just fly through and get straight to this gem and nothing happens because of it. So what I want to happen is when I get to the gem, it's going to take me to the final frame where it says that I won. All right. So here are the conditions that you would need to do that. So I'm going to click new condition. And the first thing I want to pick is my spaceship. So if I go to ship, you're going to see this option that says collisions. And then I'm going to pick another object. So what I'm going to say is that when this collides with each of these, except this one, which I'll show you in a second, it's going to stop. So here's the first one. I'll pick the meteor. So it says that there's a collision between the ship and the meteor. And then if you go to this column with the ship, when you right click, you'll see something that says movement and it'll say stop. All right. So the most common interaction in a video game is a collision. It's when something runs into something else. So the next thing I'll do is I'll just recreate that with each object. So I'm going to pick Earth here. Now, the nice thing is I can just click and drag like this, which is helpful. But I do have to make this for each of the objects that's in my scene. So it doesn't just register it automatically. Okay, so you can see that. Again, if you miss that part, it's a collision, and then you can right click, you hit movement, and then you hit stop. All right. So let's test that really quick and just make sure that when I hit these objects that my ship doesn't go through them. Okay, good, good, and good. Okay. So for the last one, this is still going to be a collision, but the difference is this time it's going to be a collision again between. So I click this object, I hit collision, I pick another object, and then I'm going to pick the gem. However, I don't want it to just stop when it hits the gem like for these other ones. What I want it to do is take me to the last frame. So you'll see just like in our first frame, on their storyboard, if I go here, this is going to say instead of stopping, it's just going to take me to the next frame. And all I have to do on this last frame is this. I'm going to hit insert new object. I'm going to go back to string and I'm just going to type in you win. Just like this. Now again, I can change the color right here, so maybe I want this to be a lot bigger. Now I won't be able to see it again because it is, so you might have to change the size of the text box. And you can see like right there, and there it is. Okay. I may add the space backdrop since it's a space game, or I could add another backdrop. So you can see here I have this backgrounds, and then I have this like space console that I could pick too. So maybe I pick this. I might center it. There you go. All right, so let's test it to see if it works. So this is, again, if you want to test all 3 frames, you go up here where it says run application, and let's see. All right, so here's my space game. Again, I can fly my ship around, but I'm gonna click start. There's my level right there. Okay, so it's just like an obstacle course. We're not worried about like lives or anything like that. And then when I hit the gem, it takes me to the final screen. All right, so that is the entire project. That's the general setup for a lot of things in games. Like most games have interactions like this. So this is how you would turn in this project for this assignment. So when you go to Canvas, the way that you do it is first, of course, you want to hit save as. So I'm just going to save this here. Call this one space game. And then once you're in Canvas, this file is what you upload. So it's an MFA file. You want to make sure that it's right. However, if you're not sure if you uploaded the right file, I'll tell you. You can ask for help with that. But that's the file again where you saved it. You can just upload that file directly. And that is the first game. So this game is now yours. Again, you can go back and you can add as much stuff as you want. But when you're making a game or playing a game, just keep in mind that anything you see in the game has some sort of code attached to it. Like somebody has spent the time to go in and make some code so that you can interact with the objects that are in the game. So I hope you had fun with this project. Again, if you need any help, please let me know. But I'll look forward to the next game that we make. Have a good rest of your week.